What were some takeaways from famous people at South by Southwest? Hello, my name is Stephanie Toma, and welcome to my channel. We talk about things personal growth, professional development, original music, and a lot more. So I'm an event lover and was at South by Southwest 2020 and had the pleasure of hearing from three different celebrities. And I'm going to list them now and then tell you a few short stories and nuggets of wisdom from these people that can illuminate something for you like they did for me. Sydney Sweeney and the topic of creative power. And we have Nick Viall and the topic of conscious identity. And then we have Jack Conte, the founder of Patreon, with artistic vision. So let's start out with Sydney Sweeney. When Sydney Sweeney was about 15, she was actively auditioning, not a well-known household name, and she ended up auditioning for this horror film. It was set in a boarding school. She loved the script. She really appreciated the storyline. Over the years, she checked back. Did someone else get the role? Did the film actually, was it made? It turned out that the film was never made. As we all know, she rose into her own fame and with that decided to reach back out to the director a decade later and say, hey, I would like to fund the film, let's go. So of course there were slight revisions. She was no longer of boarding school age at 25, but it ended up being set in a nunnery instead. And the movie is called Immaculate. That just goes to show the connections that you make early on, the ideas that stick with you, those seeds that are planted. Sometimes time is just really irrelevant. And if that movie did come out a decade earlier, maybe it wouldn't have been the success that it's destined or bound to be today. Next up, we have Nick Viall. Nick Viall was certainly painted as a villain on The Bachelor and really not the most likable character. There were a lot of negative that were emphasized. He wasn't really there to be a team player with the other men and all of those things. And there was an opportunity when it came to his professional identity. After the show wrapped, he was actually invited onto a TV show that was really capitalizing upon being a villain in the public eye. And he decided to turn it down. It was 70 or 80K. And although he could have used the money, he had a bigger vision for himself and did not want to ride the wave of being a villain and be typecast as that forever. So instead, he decided to apply to be the next Bachelor after being on The Bachelorette as a contestant. And he ended up becoming the Bachelor, which he shared at South by he probably wouldn't have been able to do if he really sort of, cashed out with all the villain stuff early on. And he really was able to sort of get some people to be empathetic to his situation by really claiming his own narrative. And now he has a media company where it's really successful by all definition, in terms of downloads, in terms of the monetary success that it's had. It's all rooted in him properly leveraging the opportunity of being on one of the most popular reality TV shows of our time. Third up, we have Jack Conte of Patreon, and his story begins with being an aspiring musician. Keyword being aspiring. So he was traveling for years, about 4 years, playing at empty venues. There may be 2, 3, 4 people at these venues. Wherever there was a gig, he was there. And he found his wheels turning, getting no results, very little money, living off of ramen. And he asked himself, what gives? What can I do? There's got to be a better way than this. And he just so happened upon a website called YouTube, and he noticed, there is this musician. They have 300,000 views in 24 hours. What if I tried that? What if I tried to create a YouTube and put my music on there? And that was the golden idea, because once he started to do that, so it started out with him solo, then with his now life partner, a musician, fellow musician at the time, and currently their band name was Pamplemousse. They started to go slowly but surely viral. There was even a point that they shared where his sister, when they were recording, just very casually walked by the camera and showed she was a soap maker. And she's like, look, I made a pamplemousse, grapefruit scented soap. And then people were in the comments asking, how can we buy that? And she had just a backlog of orders for this. And that was pretty organic. And now people would pay for product placement like that. But this was in the early days of YouTube. So going from having 3 or 4 people in any given venue at any given time to having a couple hundred people at a venue that no longer exists in San Francisco. The way he described it, he didn't name it by name, but I'm pretty sure it was Brainwash Cafe, if you've ever heard of that one. And it just went up from there. Then he mentioned 3 key social media platforms. So the very beginning of the creator economy taking off with YouTube, you wanted people to subscribe to your channel. That was a big one. Then it devolved to likes on Facebook. Go ahead and like something and it's going to get shown in your feed. Then modern day TikTok For You page. Where's the agency there? It's really up to the algorithm to decide whether someone subscribes to you or likes your content. They may not even get to see it. That's not how it works these days. He wanted to create Patreon specifically, not because he's a business guy, but because he has the resources and he cares about this problem. Those are 3 stories from South by Southwest. We had one with Sydney Sweeney on creative power, Nick Viall with conscious identity, Jack Conte with artistic vision. I would love to hear about which story resonated with you most. Maybe one takeaway that you apply in your creative journey, professional journey. And I'm wishing you a beautiful day.